Hey guys, so I am starting this reading vlog on day one of Retellathon. It is currently like 9:30 on Sunday morning, so I just got out of the shower, I ate breakfast, and I just started reading The Surface Breaks. I kind of figured this is the group book. This is also the shortest book, so I feel like I should probably like dedicate time to at least getting this one read this week. I am currently about 40 pages in. I'm on chapter 3 right now, and it's pretty cute. It's very much The Little Mermaid. Like, there's very little in this that has been changed so far, but I'm enjoying it so far. Also, the pages are so small. Like, this is a very short book to begin with, and their margins are like huge, and the font is large, so I have a feeling I'm probably gonna sit down and finish this whole thing today. I have a couple things I have to get done today because adulting sucks, homeowning takes time and money, and we have to work on our hot water heater today. Yay. But in between trips to the hardware store and trips to the basement, I will be reading this, so I will check in when I'm further along. So I wanted to check in last night, but that ended up not happening. We spent a lot of the day working on our hot water heater in our house. Being a homeowner is a trip to Home Depot. Many trips to Home Depot is what homeowning is. That's what I've learned over the past couple years. But I think we have that fixed. And I did get a lot of reading done. I actually read all of The Surface Breaks yesterday, which was the group book and kind of 2 of the challenges for me. I have thoughts. It was not great. This was kind of pitched as a reimagining of The Little Mermaid, but like really feminist. And I can see that, but this book was just kind of infuriating for like a majority of it. Like 95% of this book was not great. It's just a lot of like over-exaggerated oppression and like misogynistic culture, and I just don't think it was done that well. I feel like it was just a very like glossed over version of what like feminist mindset should be and what like misogynistic culture is. I don't know. Like the merfolk, I liked the world building. It kind of built the world really quickly for such a short book, so you kind of got a full view of everything in this world, but it basically painted the picture that like these Salkas, whatever the word was, but they were essentially like sirens, were like oppressed women who found their death in a watery grave and could get vengeance on all the men that wronged them. And then it painted the mermaids as like these royal maiden type people who only were ruled over by men. And so I was expecting kind of that, where like the Sea King and all of her sisters are just like accepting of the patriarchal society. I got that. But then she went to the human world because she insta-loved this guy, and the human world was just as bad. Like, I don't even know what time period this was technically supposed to be set in, but like the humans were just as much of an asshole as the Sea King was. Like, I don't know. I just kind of wanted some variation in the like 3 different cultures we were dealing with, and we didn't really get it. The ending was pretty badass. I won't spoil it for those who haven't read it. The last like 10 pages were really satisfying to read. It's exactly the type of ending that I love from books, where they just kind of like come into power and don't give a shit anymore. I love scenes like that, but did it make up for the previous like 290 pages? Not really. So I gave this 2 stars. I'm probably gonna keep it because, let's be honest, the cover is gorgeous, and it also is still gorgeous naked, so this will make for some good Bookstagram pictures. Will I ever pick this up again? Not likely. So that is 1 book down for Retellathon, and this morning when I woke up, I started reading Blood and Sand. I don't read books with the dust jacket on because I'm not a heathen, but this is a lovely yellow color. I am, I think, like 5 chapters in. I'm on chapter 5, so I'm about 50 pages in right now, and it's awesome. Like, this is so brutal and gruesome, and I'm loving it. This is totally my type of story where like everything is just like ruthless and badass, and I'm digging it so far. I'm only 50 pages in, but I have a feeling I will probably read a majority of this, if not the whole thing today, because it just reads super, super fast. So I'm digging the female Spartacus vibes this is giving me. And I love reading about a strong female character who just like takes no prisoners. It's my favorite type of character to read from, so that's what this has given me. And then, because I'm dumb and apparently bad at managing my reading time this week, I decided to take on this readathon because it seemed like a good idea at the time, and then I got a message on Twitter. I'm apparently doing a buddy read for Empress of All Seasons starting today. So this is going to be mixed in with all of the other books that I'm attempting to read this month. I think I have to read like 10 chapters of this today. That's gonna happen at some point. Hey guys, so it is Tuesday. The goal for this vlog was to like record in the morning and then talk about the progress that I made during the day in the evening. I'm on day 3 right now, and I've already failed at the second part of the check-in. So this is just going to be a daily check-in apparently, but I wanted to give you guys an update. So I am 85 pages into Blood and Sand, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving this. Like, it's actually very hard to put this down. This is gonna be like probably a one sitting finish, but I did have to put this down because yesterday started my buddy read for Empress of All Seasons. So I have read the first chunk, which was the first 100 pages of this book. And you guys, this book is so good. I kind of went into this without really any expectations. Like, I thought it was gonna be a cool Japanese inspired fantasy, which I'm down with right now because I'm reading a lot of those. This is like blowing my mind for some reason. I'm going to describe this, and it might change because I'm only 100 pages in right now of like a 400 page book, but as of right now, I'm gonna describe this as like a Miyazaki film, but in book form. Like, you know, Studio Ghibli. It's very much Princess Mononoke Spirited Away vibes, which are like my 2 favorite ones, so I'm loving that. There's a lot of Japanese culture influence in this, which I'm loving because it's pretty fluid. Like, there's a lot of words that are thrown in, but it's very like easily understood what's happening and how the culture works. But I'm loving this. It switches between 3 perspectives, which I don't normally like, but it's going very well for this. I like all 3 of the characters. The main girl, Mari, is pretty badass, and I really like reading from her perspective. We're also following the prince. He's the only one that I'm a little like about because he's kind of the weak character in the story, which I like that. I like that take on it, but he basically just wants to run away from his responsibilities, which, you know, I'm down with. That's cool. Do that. You do you. But oh my god, Akira, the 3rd perspective, is my cinnamon roll of this story. I adore him. I hope nothing bad ever happens to him, which is very nerve-wracking to say 100 pages into a book. So that is my thoughts on this so far. I have to go film a couple videos, but the next thing I'm going to do is read part 2 for the buddy read, which will take me to like halfway through the book. And I'm so ready for it. I'm loving this. I also forgot to mention that I've been listening to Save the Date by Morgan Matson. This was one of the books that Napoleon picked for me, so this is on my own personal TBR for this month. And I'm pretty far into it. I'm probably like 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way through. And I'm not loving it. I'm just not a huge fan of like wedding stories. I'm not a huge fan of like what else could go wrong type of stories. And this is one of those books where it's just like one bad thing happens after another, and it's just kind of like a series of catastrophes. So it's trying to be like a comedy of errors type of story, and I don't jam with those too well. They aren't super believable. Like, the amount of things that have gone wrong with this wedding and this family are just not believable. So this is not my favorite Morgan Matson book. Like, I'm enjoying it. The characters are still pretty realistic and fleshed out, but I'm just not loving the story. I will probably finish listening to this today, honestly, to just kind of get it over with. I just got a whole bunch of more book mail, and then I got this huge package, which I am so excited about. This is a new lighting system. I kind of splurged on some new softbox lights because I've been struggling with my ring light lately, and not that you need high quality equipment to film booktube videos, because let's be real, I wanted new lights, okay? So I think I'm going to open these up, go film some videos and test them and see how it's going. And I'm very excited. It was a very exciting mail day for me. Lots of packages got delivered. So that's what I'm gonna go do. Hey guys, so it is Wednesday afternoon, fairly late in the day. I am currently sitting outside in my field with my puppy and my pony. So I came out here basically to like escape distractions. I left my phone in the house. All of the goats are napping right now in the barn. That's why they aren't out here. And I am going to get caught up on my buddy read for Empress of All Seasons right now, because I'm technically supposed to finish the 3rd section today, and I barely started yesterday's section because I made the mistake of starting to watch Queer Eye on Netflix, which if you haven't watched that, I recommend very strongly. It's adorable and very wholesome. So I'm going to sit out here for probably the remainder of the afternoon. I'm in the sun, I'm below my mulberry tree, which means I'm probably gonna get mulberries dropped on me. I'll just eat them, it's fine. And that's where I am. I will check in hopefully later this afternoon and let you guys know that I actually made progress. But I'm about at the same point that I was in yesterday's check-in as of right now. So I will see you guys soon. Hey guys, checking in on Thursday. I did not do a check-in after yesterday afternoon. I did actually read a lot, but then Randy got home, there was a coupon for Pizza Hut, so priorities changed. But as of right now, I finished reading Empress of All Seasons. Today is the final day of the buddy read, so I'm waiting for everybody else to finish up the last section to be able to talk about it. But guys, look out for this one. This one comes out in November. I am going to very strongly recommend it. I do believe it's a standalone, like the story wrapped up completely in here. I think there's potential for the world to continue on if they would like to continue on with it, but for the most part, this is a good standalone. It was so much better than I thought it would be, and I went in with like no expectations of like what it was going to end up being. It blew my mind. It was one of those things I finished it and I was just like, that's a good book. It was one of those. I also finished listening to Save the Date. I didn't love it. I didn't really expect to love it after like the first couple chapters, to be honest. I'm just not a huge fan of like comedy of error, large family things happening type of stories. That was the most vague synopsis ever. I apologize for that. But I don't know. It's something about stories where one thing after another just keeps going wrong and you're like, oh my god, how are they gonna fix this situation? It's kind of the same thing as like heist situations where reading it just makes me anxious. Like, it's not really an enjoyable reading experience. I know a lot of people love stories like this. That's why people love thrillers. That's why people love heist stories. I'm just not a huge fan of them. It doesn't, like, it's not like a relaxing reading experience for me. So, I mean, it was cute. It had good moments, but I didn't really relate to any of the characters, and I just kind of wanted to get through it. So I think this is ultimately going to be like a 2-star book for me, which is kind of a letdown. So that being said, the 2 books that I have finished have nothing to do with this readathon. That's the rate that I'm going right now. But basically I really need to get through the buddy read because that had been scheduled for a while, so I felt a little obligated to do that. Save the Date was my audiobook that I was working on, so now I am going to get back into Blood and Sand. I'm still exactly where I was. I haven't picked this one up at all, but this one I will probably finish in one sitting, hopefully sometime tonight, maybe. I'm about to head out to my parents' house, which means I have a pretty long car ride out there and back. So I think I'm going to download the audiobook of Heart of Iron and work on this as well to like feel somewhat accomplished for this readathon. But I finished the first book on day 1, so I was like, oh man, I'm going strong. And then it just kind of plummeted from there. But there's still hope. The readathon is still happening. I still believe in myself. So I think I'm gonna pick this up and go from there. Hey guys, welcome to Friday's update. So I listened to Heart of Iron, so I started this. This is like my 3rd book for this readathon, and I'm about like 100-ish pages in. I'm loving it so far, to be completely honest with you. I didn't know that I was in the mood for sci-fi, but apparently I am. And then I just sat down and I started reading Blood and Sand. I am on chapter 11, so I am like 135 pages in. So I'm making slow progress on this. I think I'm probably actually going to sit down and try and finish this afternoon, or I'm gonna sit and literally just listen to Heart of Iron. One of those 2 things is gonna happen today. Okay, hey guys, so today is the 16th, so it is after Retellathon ended. I didn't actually end up like vlogging the last 2 days. I forgot the last time I checked in, but Retellathon is over and I'm going to do a quick wrap up of what I read. I I got through 3 books and through 4 challenges, which is not terrible. I didn't read the book that I figured that I wasn't gonna read, which was Winter Song. It's the middle of summer for some reason. Even reading a title with the word winter in it just doesn't click. Oh, going through the books that I did complete, you guys already know that I did read and finish The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill, and the longer that I've been sitting on this book since I have finished it, it has just kind of ruminated in my mind of like my hatred for it. Like when I finished it, I was like, okay, I mean, kind of satisfying ending, but did it really make up for the rest of the book? No. And the longer that I sat and thought about it, the hatred grew. This book was just like a hot piece of garbage in my opinion. Like the fact that it's being pitched as a feminist Little Mermaid is a stretch. Considering that probably like 99% of the book is like super oppressive and infuriating to read about, and the like redeemable ending still didn't really redeem the trash factor. Am I a little salty about this? Because I feel like I'm coming off a little salty, but I was just so disappointed in this book because it's beautiful. When I see a beautiful cover, I want it to have beautiful insides, and this one just didn't. At all. Moving on. Then I listened all the way through Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This is a like sci-fi spacey retelling of Anastasia, so you know I was on board. And I enjoyed this. I thought it was really fun. It was fast-paced. It was kind of reminiscent of, what was that book? I'm looking at my sci-fi shelf right now. Starflight? Starfall? Those books. It's kind of reminiscent of a sort of like Firefly type of story where it's like a crew of like space pirates who go on like adventures and like cons together. It's kind of reminiscent of that, so it's just a very fun read. The characters are very enjoyable. I gave it 3 stars because it didn't wow me. I loved the characters, but I didn't feel significantly connected to them. I loved the LGBT just relationships that showed up in this because it was just a pleasant surprise that it just happened, and it didn't make a big deal of it. It was just a normal relationship that blossomed from the beginning, and I was just like, oh, my heart. So I gave this 3 stars. I immediately wanted to watch Anastasia, but guess what? I only have the VHS tape of that. I don't have a VHS player anymore because it's 2018, so I need to track down a DVD or like digital copy of Anastasia because I still want to watch it real bad. And then I read Blood and Sand by C.V. Wick. This was the most pleasant surprise, possibly of the year for me. Like, this book was so good. I gave this 4 stars just because it wasn't enough for me to like really gush about it, but this book, you should read this book. So this is a reimagining of Spartacus if he was a female, and technically looking back on history, there is no definite evidence that Spartacus was a male. We all just assumed it because, hello, gladiators, manly brutality, we assumed. So this story is entirely plausible, and I loved it. Like, this is the type of ruthless, brutal female protagonist that I just crave in books. She was so badass. I adored her. So this is following Atia, who is like the female Spartacus, and it switches perspectives between her and Xanthos, who is like a Roman gladiator. He is like the champion of Rome, and he's just basically the most badass gladiator that exists, and their relationship together, just, this book. I loved this book so much. This was my favorite one of the readathon, and I will be definitely picking up the sequel. I didn't know that this was going to have a sequel, so I will definitely be picking up the sequel. It was just very interesting to read kind of a historical, fantastical retelling of something like this set in this time period. Like, we are dealing with Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius in this story, so you kind of know the direction it's going, but it was just such a brutal time period, and it really emphasizes that. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking because I feel like this is a long wrap up, but these were the 3 books that I completed in the week for Retellathon. This one, hot mess. This one, fun and enjoyable. This one, totally redeeming the first book. Loved this book. So that is going to be it for this reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my reading journey through these books. These are 3 books that I've definitely wanted to get to, so I'm glad that I pushed through and read them regardless of their quality. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys had fun, and I will see you guys in my next one.